owner doesn't need to reclaim immediately. Yet that claiming, that validation is the backdrop on my life stage. I have thought of death as a friend I often hold conversation with, a friend that ends one cycle so you'll never really know any ending. For the space we inhabit, the world we live, is a timeless continuum. I have often contemplated how marvelous life is. I've often seen you as family. I've often thought of contradictions. I've thought of invisible forces that are in charge, that are in control. I've often thought of breathless helplessness. I've often thought of the strength it takes to surrender. I often think of her and how her embrace is a sustaining life force. Something unexplainable, something otherworldly. I've thought of life as meaningful, yet mostly meaningless. I've often thought of how meaning of life is overrated. I once vomited my heart and held it in the palm of my left hand for an interrogation. Looking it dead in the eye, I asked about the lies. I asked why. I asked about truth and whether truth even existed. I asked whether truth even mattered. Do you think chimpanzees and bonobos care about truth? At this juncture, his tears had become the second hymn, but the first hymn was in hiding, taking refuge under her breath, under her breast, but moving on to settle within the ghetto of his thoughts. In that moment, he had lost discernment. He could not tell what was fact from what was fiction. What actually was of value? Would it be his self-image? Would it be his thoughts of what he thought the rest were thinking about him? Would it be served as a cocktail of a mixture of shame and guilt? That noise was loud. It often was accompanied by visions that had been authored by the soul of his soul. The light was so bright. The voice that repeatedly enforced his presence in space was in exile. So the words had become stains that got stuck on his tongue. A mute in the edge of speech. A wingless bird in the era of flight. Blinded by how bright his soul shined from within, he thought the light would be far, too far from reach. So a breakup was ripe in order for a reunion, masterminded by the council of suns and moons that had convened just for his well-being. His mind had gone back to the pre-verbal era, the chaotic beginning. So time passed, painfully. Yet it passed. walk never to be asleep again. Determined to light the way, his fire a series of wildfires, but wildfires catching the bushes, surrounding hearts and souls. Hearts and souls blazing the wake, remembering the culture of the earth and the skies and the space in between now and now. I'm determined to be the channeler of ancestral wisdom and intellect, the channeler of my indigenous ancestral swag and skill. And the souls of God. And the souls of